I got an interesting comment on one of my videos. This video was responding to an audience member who was asking about brand recognition. Their aim is to, in a sense, see if we can figure out if PlayStation's brand recognition or brand name actually works out for them. And, I was making the video talking about this stuff, but I saw a comment on the video that I thought was very interesting. You see, there's a side to the conversation. Whenever you posit a case, a lot of people will try their best to maybe refute, maybe, augment, or in some cases, in a sense, maybe talk a little bit about it. But then you have people who would maybe attempt to refute it, but end up missing the mark or saying something that I don't know how to categorize it without being rude. But let me, again, try my best to be gracious here. This person says, VGF, you constantly bring up the word market in quote as if it's part of nature or some sort of supernatural force. You've become the fanboy you claim to criticize. That's strange. The word market, in the context of any business, corporation, financial, fiscal, economic perspective, is an economic term. That's what it is. It's an economic term that describes what I think is just a vague, categorization of how people react to products and services. If they reject something, the market has spoken. If they accept something, the market has spoken. Or if they don't, in a sense, engage with it as it was, maybe possibly, in a sense, hypothesize that it will be accepted, then the market has spoken. That's what we refer to as market. I have to say, a lot of people are into this fanboy stuff so hard and so heavy that I think it may have warped their minds. I think so. I think that's what we're seeing in a sense. They said this. You've become the fanboy only to become a Game Pass slash in quote market fanboy, pumping out more console war slop than there are these days. You went from PC to Microsoft to Game Pass to market fanboy. Pick a side and stand by it. I've seen comments like this on Doug Dark's channel. I won't be surprised if this person also maybe comments the exact same thing. They'll tell Doc, hey, Doc, you're now a PC, content creator. Why don't you just stick with it? Why do you even bother talking about PlayStation or whatever? Let me tell you what's going on. You've tied your identity to some platform, right? The platform is not the way you thought it was. Once we started digging in and we started picking apart the pieces, Xbox, PlayStation, you realize that these guys have basically been fooling you in the sense that, let me give you another example. Somebody said something. They said, these companies groomed their users to all be these exclusivity celebrators. Like, they're celebrating, oh, exclusivity this, exclusivity that. And then now that the companies are wanting to, start moving in different ways for them to, make more money in their business, their users and their consumers are not really happy about it. So they've groomed you to think a certain way, right? But now when we bring it into an economic perspective and want you to, in a sense, now, grow up about the situation, what is your first reaction? You hurl insults. You act like a little baby. And if you have to hurl insults to make yourself feel, to make yourself feel like you're adding to the conversation, you're lost. I want to try my best to steer you back to sensibilities so that you can realize that the conversations we're having here, they are informative for the consumer. If you are somebody who is looking at what the industry is doing, you realize that as a consumer, you can pretty much go ahead and make much more informed decisions as you choose. No one is forcing you to do anything. You just get to do what you want to do, but now you're doing it from a perspective where no one can, in a sense, groom you, or no one, in a sense, can influence you, or no one, in a sense, can basically, in a sense, present something that looks one way while in reality it looks a different way. All of the reality in today's day and age, the economy, the data that we have, it's all right here. You feel me? It's all right here. We're seeing it right in front of us. And in the face of all of this, for you to single out this particular, missive and saying, well, you went from a PC to a Game Pass fanboy, blah, blah, blah. Come on. You got to understand, man, I'm not a baby anymore. I know heckling when I see it. I teach middle school students. I know what this is the most infantile, aspect of a human being where tantrums are thrown. This is what children and babies do, or at least even young adults when things aren't going their way. It's like the kind of response. I'm gonna cry my way because things aren't going my way. That's the response and how I'm reading it. And like I said, I don't want to be condescending. I hid the person's name. I'm just saying that this is kind of that behavior. If you want to talk with the adults, if you want to basically have a conversation in this regard, I suggest that you come to the table with some work. Put in a little bit of work, put in a little bit of the thinking hat on, and engage in the process. This thing is not going to come out here and sort itself out because you just hurled the word Game Pass / Market Fanboy. I mean, if you wanted to really tag somebody with a nickname, that would probably be the lamest attempt if we actually wanted to go from that perspective. So if what Game Pass is doing causes anybody to say this is a valuable service, and they can back that particular statement and conclusion by the fact that Game Pass saves them money, Game Pass provides value in today's industry more than even the other video game services, then if you prefer another service, then all you can say is prefer the other service and spend your money how you choose. However, numbers don't lie. And because numbers don't lie, you find yourself in a very interesting position where you have to actually say what I think is the most tepid thing that you can even think about an entire conversation that's pointing out these realities about the market. Right? So I'd say, get yourself up to speed, get yourself educated, get yourself understanding the reality of economic forces, market forces, because a lot of people are very quick to just blur, right? Even in some of my videos, I've actually presented even information about this stuff from textbooks. I don't know, many of you may or may not remember, right? We've seen some information that's been presented from Michael Porter's book on competition, where I talk about, market forces, where these forces are impressing themselves upon gaming right now. The buying power of the bargaining power of the buyers, the bargaining power of the suppliers, the threat of new entrants, that's new developers, rivalry among existing competitors, the threat of substitute products or services. I mean, would Game Pass not fall in that category as a substitute service? In terms of what PlayStation Plus has basically enjoyed for the most part, Game Pass is encroaching on its territory. So these conversations are actually, in my opinion, attempting. I'm not saying that, this is the best thing ever, but they're attempting to be informed. And they're, attempting to help people to be able to see the market from a much more, intelligent perspective. Rather than running around console warring and saying, oh, my platform did better than yours and blah, blah, blah. And the fact that I'm a PC gamer, I think kind of irks you too, because you can't throw this, oh, you're biased nonsense at me that people tried for the longest time and then they realized this isn't sticking. Plus, I'm, again, all this nonsense internet trolling crap, I just farm for content too. So it's kind of a zero-sum game for me. And, I welcome the poor attempts to distract or whatever it is. I'll examine it and at the same time, try to benefit from it too. So by all means, if you need truth, then let's hear what you think the truth is. Else, all these attempts, they benefit me. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your comments to that user. And hopefully, we're able to make some sense of this and, the truth can penetrate the fantasy that you wish you lived in. Peace out.